what I was just streaming a minute ago. Except now I've adjusted my bitrate. I guess when I first configured this thing, I set it to 3000. It's never been a problem before. But today the internet's not as fast as it usually is. Who knows? Maybe it's the winter. But now we're back. So hopefully this will be a solid stream from here on out. And as I was saying in the choppy version of my pre-stream there, this is an important stream and it needs to be good because it's supposed to be Abner Coimbrae's stream right now, but he's sick. So I have taken up the burden of trying to do a show, and I'm not a performance artist. I can't be Abner, but I can try. So, to that end, we have a little bit of this going on, right? And we're gonna go ahead and get started on this fine Sunday afternoon with a little bit of chocolate milk. Fantastic. All right, everybody. Let's start working on this 4coder stuff, shall we? Super. Okay, so I'm not even set up, except that I have been. You can see I've run 4coder 4 times today because I've been using it for everything. Let's get this up and running. Let me pop over here. Ooh, I'm so used to 4coder key bindings now. Data to do. All right. All right. So, I need to update this list because even though it's got some things that weren't here last time you saw the list, we definitely need more things because my lists are always growing. You see, this is one of those reasons I can't be Abner. I can do everything that Abner does, but I can't stop making lists, and I'm pretty sure Abner is against this much list making. But it's the only way I can handle having all these things to do. So, let me transfer some new list items. Right, we've got the Lexer bug, apparently. That's not good to hear. In the 4cpp config.h file. Open up that file, there's apparently a bug in it. In the Lexer that reveals. Don't search ghost, search highlight. Steady view in panel editing of same file. That's an interesting one. That'll be fun to get to. Auto indent stopped working. Apps. Correct. Question mark? Okay. Scrolls with mouse off window. I don't really like that fact, so we're gonna make it sure it doesn't do that. And then I got this assert today. Size dot. I think that's plus buffer line count. Okay. Okay. And once all that's done, there's plenty of to-dos. Let's see. Turn to previous buffer. It's all in there. Oh wait, that's all in there. Okay. I think our list is up to date. Alright. Alright. Let's just do what I do with these to-do lists. Let's start from the top. And you know what? I think I'm gonna need music tonight. It feels like a music day, and Abner's always got music. And how can I fill half of Abner's, you know, how can I be a half Abner stream if I'm not playing music too? So let me turn music volume up a bit. Let me even have music player up. Okay. I guess I'll start with this one. My classical. This is the one I always use. I pretty much use it on my stream, and half the time I use it when I don't stream. Let me know if you want more or less music as I go. Alright. The paste highlight range is wrong. Oh, I need less music. I can't hear myself speak. Okay. The paste highlight range is wrong, so let me demonstrate what that means. If I'm over here and I'm running 4coder, and I go into test basic.cpp, and I grab this and say I want to paste it. Oh, that worked. Okay, so I need to push this a little bit farther apparently, because that's working. Let's try opening it on this side. That totally... Oh, there it didn't work. Yep, okay. So it takes a little bit of doing, but eventually I can break it if I push hard enough. Like there's a certain... Yeah, that's... There it put the range in the wrong location. Highlighting words I didn't actually paste. Up here, okay. Oh, I wonder if it's got to do with... Okay, so that works, right? But on the left-hand side, it went to a different position. So if these two guys agree, it works. But if one of them disagrees with the other, he's putting the paste in the same location, but he's messing it up. So it does have to do with multiple panels. Do you see how the left and right panel aren't highlighting the same spot? Alright, cool. So now I see the problem in my sort of mental space. I know what we're dealing with here. So, we need file view. Man, Emacs sucks. Wow. I've been using 4coder all day on a couple of different projects, and man, like, this sucks. Okay, I'm just saying because it took so long to open that. I'm not used to that. Okay. Where do I store this paste range? Paste. So that's being stored in the view, which is kind of weird when you think about it, really. Because, I mean, it's gonna be the same for every single view, right? It sort of seems like a file thing, but then let me tell you a story. back when I was discussing things with Martin Cohen as he was working on Hail, he proposed, you know, he was definitely going for sort of the design that correctly represented data of the file purely, right? In the terms of this is what a file is, and it doesn't matter how we ever want to render it. This is the data that the structure of the file, and my file, it never is contaminated with things like font, right? The font, the details of where the font sizes are and things like this never contaminates the information of the file. And there's something that's nice about that because that means that I can copy that and say I want to do something completely different with the file than what I normally do to view it, and I just have the same data unit of file for both things, so I can copy it back and forth, right? It's got some nice properties. It does. But my editor just isn't built that way in a lot of ways, and once in a while I have to make these decisions like, okay, am I gonna say, let's look at the file. The file has settings and state. The settings include things like, what's the map that this file is edited with, right? That's not really got anything to do with the data of a file. Is it editable, right? Things like this. This is the settings. And then the state of the file also has things that don't really, like what font ID are we using to render this file? And the difference why that's in settings versus state is that it's still in flux. Maybe that should be in settings. But it is in state right now. And the question is, and like undo, that's a part of the pure data part of it, right? But it's all sort of mixed and mashed together. So I don't really mind adding that. I just gotta decide, like, if it's acceptable for sure. Okay, so I'm thinking. For now, I can just put that in state. I mean, it fits in with the... Now that I have state and settings separated, it fits in pretty well. So I'm going to move that into state. You know what? I'm going to add something else to my to-do list that isn't there but needs to be there. I need another item. I need, to-dos. Is it in here yet? Okay, yeah. Consolidate all UI code properly. Okay. So now we've just moved paste effect out of the view and into the file state. So everything should break that references paste effect. But then we should get the free bonus that once we've resolved all of those differences, we'll just get synchronization correctly. is more about like relative position. That's not what I want. Ind. I think ind is what I want, right? What are all the things ind is used for? Because I believe that means it's the true index of this thing. Yeah, so I don't want I want ind. Ind is the true index of the file. There we go. By the, did you see that? That's like so much faster than Emacs. It's like what? It's so great. I mean, I'm not trying to like sell 4coder here. I'm kind of upset that I have to do this myself because this isn't even, I haven't even done anything. I haven't even done anything smart. Almost everything in this whole program uses the naive approach to it. Like, I haven't even put the gap buffer properly in yet. It's still using the golden array, and it's just insanity. Alright, there we go. That bug is gone. Okay. Okay, the new file interface has a problem. And by that what I mean is, when I do, let me demonstrate as I do. If I do new file, and by the way, quick aside here. I hear people tell me once in a while, and, you know, I'm not going to name names, but they say things like, I don't want to make new files. I want to use the same thing for open as new. And that never works for me, because whenever I hit open, and I'm like, alright, I want a thing that's called, like, you know, bass is the name of the file I want, for example. If I want to create a file called bass, and I hit enter, that's defined to openbasic.cpp already. Right, so I need a separate interface for new, and so that's what's going on there, and that's not really going to change. Not naming names, just, you know, just saying. Let's see, bug in a new file interface. Right, so if I type in, here's something new, .txt, and I hit enter, nothing happens, right? And it's like, what is going on? So, for that, I want to figure out what happens when I hit... First of all, I think the right place to start is what happens when I hit Control N. Okay, I need, let's look for... There we go. Interactive new. And yeah, it's, never mind. I was gonna say something, but I would have been wrong. Okay. Forget that. I was not gonna say something. Interactive new. We create this, interactive view. We set the action to int v new. Okay, so I need to go to the interactive view. Int v new. View complete. So whenever it completes a view, does this. Okay, so int v is not the only thing going on. Int v sys file list. There we go. Do file list box. Okay. Do file list box. I don't believe that will be in here. Let's look in. Let's look in code color view for do file list box. Yep. See, that should be in a UI file because the fact that I have memorized which of the 3 views that might be, or files that might be in, is like nice, but it's also terrible because I need that brain space back. Alright, What is this? What is this? Here. The do main file box, I believe. More important thing. Yes. Okay. File field input. And that's where it switches over to the file view. You can see why I'm so frustrated with my UI code. Key I less than count. Like totally unreadable by my new standards. I'm gonna just like make this readable for me. I can't read this right now. I don't really know how people read code when they don't separate their declaration from their declarative events, actually, to be honest. I'm being completely honest about it. And look, that's just revealed like a bunch of stupid stuff in here. That can go right there, I believe. Yeah. So what I can do is this can just go up here like so. And this can go... Oh, I did that wrong. That can go right there, and that's a key right there. I think I'll leave that there for now. Well, I'm gonna try and just push it out, and if we get a bug, then I'll push it back in or mess with. And this right here can come out. Okay, now I can read this. So, app single file input step. Gives me this step, and then if I hit new line or I hit control new line, no file match. Okay, so what happens is I need a version of this. So yeah, that's what I expected. It's mad at me because when I do the new file thing, like file does not match. File match 32 require match. So either you do not require a match, or well, no require match. No require. Either you do not require the match, or there's not a no match. It's a little bit weird. There's like nots and no's and everywhere in my code. Step.no file match. Let's take a look at single line input step. No file match. How many people are using no file match? Only a few. Let's switch that to file match, shall we? Okay. Keyboard Caleb, I don't support any kind of Unicode system. It's all ASCII. So you see, that was designed so that the default would be 0. And then I could change it, but it makes it more confusing in the code it's used in. So I'm going to try switching it up. File box. Wire match. Now I'm gonna get issues because that's gonna match with some people's, break all of them. File list box. Wait, I just need to make sure that I didn't flip that. No require match. Okay. So I went and so you do not require a match, or have a match. Either way, you're. Well, actually, no. That's still gonna be a problem. I'm gonna take out all of those changes. I'm gonna do this the other direction. That was correct. I'm gonna get bugs if I do that, so switch all of this back to what it was. Okay. I want to do this the other way around. So what I was trying to do is say, let's add to this thing here the concept that it might behave differently. But I think I'm actually not adding the full concept that I want. I want to push this from the other direction and see if I can make it make more sense that way. And by that is, what I mean by that is, let's start from the other end. Let's start from interactive view. When I do a sys file list here, the first thing I want to do is I want to determine 32 yes, I'll enter here. This is different than that other thing where I wanted everything separate, because this is a big function, not a small one, so having some declare anywhere is nice here. Is new equals v action. Okay, so now we're determining whether or not this thing is for new or not. So, when I do a file list box, I tell it two things. I tell it this thing here, which I forget the meaning of, and I tell it is new. Right. Let me lay these out a little state. Alright, I want to look at that effect. That should just say, oh, your thing is broken. Then what I can do is say, let's go over to File View, do File List. Oh, it's in Color View. Do File List box. Okay. So, I need to figure out what all these things do. UI state is the UI that this file box is a part of. Layout is the layout engine for that UI. Let's group those together logically. Hot directory is the directory that is currently active that we're looking at. As filter is that 0 right there. Yeah, that's a little bit nasty. The filters are baked in right here. But anyways, the idea is right here I'm gonna put try to match. Now anywhere else where I called it, I'll just insert a 0 in the appropriate spot, because I don't want anyone else to change their behavior. I see a question. Let me get to it in 1 second. Okay, so the question says, it comes to us from Tone Experiences, or Tone We to new experiences. That's what it says. Okay, so figured that out. What will be the powerful features of 4coder? Okay, so there's all kinds of ways that could go. I could tell you what I want them to be. I don't know for sure that this is the way they will go, because it's all kind of an experiment. But I can list for you some of the different avenues of exploration that I want to add. So, say once we're past the point where all of the subtle things are done, like I'm not going to talk about the low latency stuff, even though that's technically interesting and it actually takes some powerful programming techniques to make it happen. I'm going to talk about the things that are not subtle, but obviously that's a huge boom, this exists, and it clearly saves me. It speeds me up on an ON magnitude, right? I was going to type N stuff, and now I am typing 101 stuff to make that happen. Those kinds of things. One path of thought is that I'm going to work on sort of semantic level editing. So that includes basic things like being able to say, put my cursor on this expression here and say, I want you to go to the whatever thing I'm on, right? Go to the statement level. I want to highlight that. So put me in a situation where my cursor is here and my mark is right here, so that I have the whole expression or the whole statement selected, right? Now that's a small thing, but there's big things that you can get once you start adding stuff like that together, like the ability to highlight one statement as an object. I'll use the term object. We're not talking about object-oriented programming, but an object for editing, where normal text editing, the objects are characters. Imagine that a statement, or an entire case, for example, or the entire switch, for example, is one object of your editing, right? And so you can select this whole thing, and you can say, I want to copy this over to this function. And what it'll do then is do a semantic check, and it'll say, do all of these variables exist? Do I need to add local variables here to match the local variables that this thing needs, are some of these things going from being inline structs to pointers to structs that I need to change dots and arrows, right? And so it says, if applicable, and it might say like, oh, there's too many differences. The environment you're copying this statement into is not equivalent enough to the original for me to make this happen. But in a lot of cases, it's actually possible for it to say, oh, I can just put that in there and I'll do the work to make the environment equivalent to the old environment that same statement was in. Because a lot of times you just move text back and forth where you're like, all right, I want to do the same thing I was doing, but now all the spots where I have UI dot, like but now UI will be a pointer. Same code, but now UI is a pointer everywhere, right? And that kind of stuff, like, it takes a little bit of time to do. You have to find every UI dot and replace it. Now you could say, well, what if you just seek the text and do UI dot and replace it with UI arrow? That's gonna miss this. You have to catch the fact that like that type is changing and like that has to be changed as well. The thing that really knows the types will just put in the right thing, right? That's one idea. Then there's a whole different line of thinking. There's a lot of time you spend writing code that looks like, let me show you a great example of this. Once in a while you find yourself writing tables of code, right? Here's a list of token types, here's some flags, here's some other things, blah blah blah, and then I have down here I have tables of code, right? I have code that has a very regular pattern to it, and then elements in the table change each time. And if I ever want to say something like, I want to split this into two tables with two different names, there's a little bit of transformation that has to happen there. But, you know, as you go and like have more layers of like transforms, you start to realize, oh, it would just be so much nicer if I could say, let's treat this as a table, and then edit it as like an Excel format thing, and then it would spit out the code, however I need it, right? So that's just another example of something that's not really anything to do with code semantic analysis. So if I can't nail the semantic analysis thing, which is my loftier goal, there's all kinds of routes. I just want to find what are the things that take, once I get to powerful features, I'm thinking, what is something that takes ON or ON squared time to write, and how can I make that order of like a complexity class lower than that for you to actually write. That's kind of what I want to do, right? And I'm probably missing some of the ideas I've had, because those are just some of the things that I've been thinking about recently. But anyway, that's my answer to that. Let's keep going. I'm gonna kill this right now. Okay. Right, why is everything working? Because the last thing I did was I did do main file box. I haven't done do main file option, file list. Okay, so I did do file list box. Like all these things, so many of them. I gotta clean up the UI stuff soon. Hopefully, very soon. So do file list box now has tried to match. Now it's the thing I need to make it do is in here, do main file box. This is the thing where this is the part of the code that actually, that if there is basically responsible for detecting if I press enter, detecting keyboard input in general, and typing things into that box and rendering that box, right? And that, since that's what's detecting the key press of enter, that's the one who needs to know that it's trying to match something else. So what I want to do is open another instance of the color view over here and go to do main file box. Yeah, we got this thing where char star end is got a default parameter, which I'm going to take out. Default parameters always end up being a pain in the ass. Eventually, if you don't know for certain that this is the function and the way it's going to be for years, they're usually a pain. Because, like, if I, for example, leave that there, let me show you what'll go wrong with the default parameter. say I add in another thing where I'm like, I need this. Now, what I want to have happen is when I change the signature, everything should break so that I revisit it and make sure that it's still working. But with that default parameter, some people will break because they didn't use the default parameter, and people who do use the default parameter will suddenly be wrong, but the compiler won't know. So I'm just sort of like done with default parameters. Okay, so somewhere in here, by layout, that goes with that. Put it right here. Try to match. Actually, I got my try to match backwards. Let me take this, turn it into something else, that everything breaks. We're not new. Try to match. That's correct. I'm skeptical that that's the only place do main file box actually shows up. Or do file list box. Just as I suspected. Lies. I need to find all of the places where do file list box shows up, people. So I was doing 1 and 0 backwards. Okay. let's go to test, and then I want something of the form newstar.cpp. I want something of the form uh, star.text. Right? So you've got like that kind of thing going on. And of course you could do just .text because the star at the beginning is irrelevant. But you could do, oh, I want something that's b star.text. Right? I want something that's star test .cpp. Right? So that's a kind of a fuzzy matching feature too. Exactly what you're describing, I don't totally understand. Anyway, what I was supposed to work on was over here. Okay, so it shows up in two places. Hot directory first match shows up in two places, there and there. Okay, so that's the only two places where I use it. And for now, I'm just going to say always go case insensitive. And we'll make that a parameter that I can adjust. And I'll make it clear that it exists for now by saying James Woodman's still asking about this. Answering his question. That's why I pulled 4coder up. He's asked if you typed just 4, would it match parser test4.cp? And there you go. It does. If I hit enter, it opens that one. Whoops. Except I guess I was sure to say that. 4. So my open is now behaving like new. Isn't great. I'm going to just pull this out up here. Zero. Put it in here. Case sensitive. Case sensitive. Really what I want to do with this is I want this to be up here. Match, right? Need to be make fixed with string front space. Music is gone. Okay, so something's going wrong, and I need to take a moment now. We've pulled out this idea of case sensitivity, and we haven't implemented that yet. I need to... Well, first of all, I need to fix this issue, so... That'll help. Next, I need to fix this music. I want something new that I don't do very often. Alright, this might be good, this might be bad, I don't know, but we're gonna play it. Oh. Shh. Turn that off. That's no good. I got an audience suggestion. I always wish I would get audience suggestions. We're gonna try this from Garlando Bloom. So, you know who to blame if it comes down to it. Oh, awesome. Let me find a volume knob on here though. There's not a volume knob here on SoundCloud, really? There's not. I can turn it down over here, I guess. Cool. Alright. This is good. Yes, this sounds like it's music from, at least similar to the Witness trailer. James actually just said that. Okay, great. Orlando Bloom, you're just gonna distract me. Now I'm like in the trailer. I see myself playing the game. Oh well, I can make it work. Alright. So when I hit open, it's going wrong. So that's... You can't possibly spoiler The Witness by playing music because there's no music in The Witness. Spoiler alert, by the way, if you didn't know that there's no music in The Witness. But you can't spoiler The Witness by playing music. It's not possible. Okay, I'm looking around for something. I don't know where it is. App single. Yes, app. I got named app for some. Great name. Here it is. Here it is. Here's the relevant stuff. Are you failing? Are you failing? What's happening with this thing? I'm gonna try to open a file now. Hit new line. Folder fast select. Front name. 4. Case sensitive. Direct match? No such thing. Try to match. 0? You should try to match. Who told you not to try to match? Your caller? Who told you to try not to? This guy said not to match. Who told you not to match? This guy did. Who told you not to match? This guy did. Okay. Who told you not to match? Is new. Oh, that's an oh shoot. 121. You know, it happens every once in a while. It just happens. You write the one equal like you're a little tiny noob in your diapers and you don't know how to program. Then you get over it and it's back to normal. And you can type things like 4 and open a file. And after you get through a couple of breakpoints, it'll just work. Alright. So, I was working on this case sensitivity problem. It's in one of these files. There it is. Okay. Hot directory first match. There it is. Insofar as says Clang might have caught the, or probably would have caught the bug where I did the equals, not the double equals, which would have been awesome. I mean, this normally catches that if you're using it in the normal sense, but like when I do A equals A or CD like that versus that, I don't know how it would choose. Like maybe the parentheses are a clue that it's wonky, but I mean that's just valid, right? That's something people do sometimes. That wouldn't you wouldn't want a warning for that, I don't think. Except for like, hey, your code's kind of weird. But I mean, I think I use that once in a while, so it could maybe the Clang could warn on that on the parentheses alone. Maybe it just says, hey, it's kind of weird that you put parentheses here and you didn't need them here. I could see that. Okay, so case sensitive match, file name match. Okay, so now the question becomes, does my string library have everything that I need? And by string library, I just mean like a file full of string stuff that I use all the time. Match. Sensitive. I have an unsensitive find substring. How does that work? Let's look at find substring. Yeah, okay. Oh, true. I should shut this thing up now because it's going to start playing random stuff. I don't want to have all my audio muted. Might already be too. Alright, so, let's see. Thinking I just want to add a match unsensitive here and not try to make my find substring sort of Frankenstein match version. copy of this name. Code transform could do this, by the way, people. Just in case we're not clear on that. But I don't have that because I'm busy implementing all little things and never do code semantics. So just making sure we all get it. Really? Yeah, I thought it was. Okay, well. I thought it was 2 upper, right? It's actually char 2 upper. I wasn't getting it. Wait, wait. Orlando Bloom, are you saying Abner didn't watch the trailer for The Witness? Like the one where I'm not. I mean, if he didn't watch it in order to avoid spoilers, I don't want to describe it. But you know, the one where at the end it tells you the date it's coming out. That one. That's crazy. I mean, I watched it. I don't know. I didn't like pay attention. I tried to like just sort of take in the environment and not watch puzzle solving happening. But I mean, for the most part, it didn't show the solutions to many puzzles except like the first one, I think, or maybe a couple. Like, uh, I see. Yeah. I mean, good for him. I watched it, so I guess I'm a little bit spoiled, but I had to because it's like I needed a little bit of witness to keep me going, you know? But I don't know if I saw anything important. I don't know enough details. I don't even know. I don't even really remember what I saw except for stuff that I won't list because it's not polite to spoil things for Abner if he's still watching. Hmm. Just knowing the fact that the trailer has spoilers in it makes it even more spoilery. You know that because I thought it wasn't spoiled at all, and knowing that there's something in there where there was a spoiler is like a hint. Somebody kick Garlando Bloom out of my chat room because he's gonna ruin everything. Don't tell me there's something important that I happen to have on the screen. I don't want to know that. Miblo, are you there? Take care of this situation. I don't know how to kick people. Jeez. All right. So those match insensitives should be good, but that's not the only thing I need. I'll go back to file view real quick and say, all right, if case sensitive, do this, else do this. Then I want the same thing right here. File match. So I need to go look at my file match, which is also in string.h. I lied, it's not in. Oh, file name match. Okay, where is file name match? Oh, it's right there. Duh. Okay. Wildcard match. Wildcard match. This is a beast of a function. I think I want to pass into this one whether or not it's case sensitive. Hmm. There's match, match part, match part, match part. I'm gonna need match part on sensitive. Yeah. Oh boy. Okay, so this can be done. No worries. Case sensitive. Then we're gonna need some functions here. Hope you're ready to go down the rabbit hole with me, because here we go. Okay, first of all, we need a match func that takes in. Now, what's does that take in? A char star on one side and a string on the other. Okay. And we need a match part function that takes in. Okay, what is this? X on the left, X on the left, X on the left. So char star on the left always, and on the right, string, string, and string. Okay, and then it's a question of if we're case sensitive, match func becomes match, otherwise match, and match part func becomes match part, else. Same guys again, but match unsensitive and match part unsensitive. Okay. Alright, so, that means we're going to need match parts to have unsensitive. Oh, that needs to be match unsensitive right there. That's going to be a bug. And all of those guys need unsensitive versions. Alright. Unsensitive versions of all of these functions. Okay. Yes. This match parts. Okay, match parts unsensitive. Then again, char to upper. Char to upper. Char upper. Char upper. Char upper. Char to upper. Char to Okay, so I feel like I should explain because I was just thinking to myself the last time I said that that could be done with a code transform, I don't think I was clear enough about what I meant. So let me tell you exactly how you would do that with a code transform. First of all, let me fix some of this too, because this is great. You can fit on that. Stay up. Stay up. Here's how you would do that as a code transform. So in this particular case, what we're talking about is not copying some text, because well, as you saw, all I can do if I can copy text is copy all that and the open parenthesis. Then when I go to apply it to, say I want to apply it right here, I still have to add that close parenthesis, and it's super annoying. The idea of a code transform would be, let's look at this in terms of the fact that it's code, and what I want to do is I want to copy this thing here, char to upper. I want to copy that node of the tree itself, right? Just the node that says it's char to upper. And then wherever I go, okay, I want the node associated with this square bracket, right? The whole tree underneath that. Between that and its parent, I want to insert this node here, right? Boom. And so then when it prints that code back out, it's just done, right? It's one operation every time you insert char to upper. That's what I was talking about, and it would have been so nice if it was there. But anyway, let's talk about building. Should be an error. Sensitive. Case sensitive. Interesting. I think this guy's gonna have to have a case sensitive variable. As is this guy. I want those to complain that they don't exist, which they are. Okay. Alright, so do, 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 do. What are we doing here? Well, there should be plenty of errors, so let me see what they will think about this. Right, there's all these different functions, Alan. They're saying that you said have case-sensitive variables laying around, but they don't. We don't know what you're talking about. You know what? I need to wait, because I'm figuring out where that information is going to come from. I want to make sure it comes from the top. We need to establish a clear chain of communication. Chain of command, right? So, hot directory first match coming from this function here. Right? It's got a case-sensitive variable, right? Where is that case? Oh. It's just deciding right there. Wrong. Now on. That's in the mode. And down here where I say try to match equals, you're now responsible for saying whether we're case sensitive. And don't worry, that's going to be passed to you from above in the chain of command. Someone else is responsible for deciding, not you. case sensitive. Case sensitive. Alright, we haven't got there yet. Case sensitive. Do case sensitive. Passing it up. Sensitive. Case sensitive. File. Sorry, I put you in the wrong spot. I want you right here next to try math. Okay. Okay, so file name match here actually is case sensitive. He's actually allowed to decide that because he's the live file list box. He's different. He's not looking at files in the, on the disk. He's looking at the live loaded files. He gets to decide what he does with the file names, and he's deciding that they're case sensitive. At least for now. Okay, here we go. This guy here wants to be told whether or not to be case sensitive. Color. Spots, I'm going to go case sensitive. Case sensitive. And I'm going to scroll up here to the top, and we're just going to plop that in somewhere so that later I know where to set that. Right? Case sensitive? No. Not right now. Step draw into view. This guy too, he's just going to say, no, I'm not case sensitive. He's going to decide it. He's high enough up in the hierarchy that I don't mind putting it there. Right? And then later on in the future, this can be passed into these people from even higher up in the hierarchy. What? Factory draw help. This function unused? Totally is. I think these are from the old days when I didn't have the interactive view for picking files. Yep, alright, they're out of here. Bye! Now, all that string copying stuff is gonna bloat my CLOC count quite a bit. A couple hundred lines today, but I also deleted some big functions just now, so not a terrible day. We got a little bit of increase in the lines of code there, and I gotta think of how I want to structure the string stuff in the future to be, it's getting to the point where I maybe want the string library to actually be generated code. Because there's so much repetition and stuff like that there. It seems like it would be prudent of me to revisit how I'm making that code. Alright, let's see if we're case insensitive. Doesn't seem like it. Okay, new bug. Let me just write this down. Shift backspace. Alright, ignoring that. Yeah, we're not case insensitive. So, let's debug it. Debug time. Line in core. When I hit enter, I want you to stop me. Enter. Alright, so first of all, are we case insensitive? Yes, we are. We are not case sensitive, therefore we're case insensitive. Come in here, case insensitively. Ask that we find first match we can. Looking for an exact match. Yes, we live. File name sub with string basic. I want to stop here a couple. In fact, I'm going to keep stopping there until I find two things that I think are supposed to match. Okay. Come in here. That's going to be an exact match. It's not going to work. Okay. Fair enough. Tell me when we get to here. Okay. Now T1 sub and basic, those shouldn't match. Auto tab and basic, those shouldn't match. Here, these two should match. Case sensitive? No. Okay. Okay, so that type. Still not case sensitive. Case sensitive. Otherwise, do match on part on. Got these two functions. Let's just take a moment and appreciate. I know we hate on C++ a lot, but let's appreciate something really awesome that actually happens in this code right here. This function, this function, this function, they're all heavily overloaded. I think that there also happens to be at least these two are inlined. Maybe all four of them are inlined. And yet it still figures out how to do this function pointer correctly, I do believe. Yeah. It knows which type it's supposed to be, and it's pointing to the right one. So C++ people, you got that right. Like, that's the kind of feature actually just awesome that it works. Thank you. Okay. Uh-oh. That'll explain it. Okay. So the problem is I went ahead and set up this whole clever function pointer thing. A few cons says to keep the balance, you now have to find something that's wrong with CPP in your code. I will look for it. In the meantime, while I'm not sure where that is, all of these here need to be func. Now that they're funky, they will do their jobs correctly. So let's look around here. I think I have some Yeah, let's say I wanted qdiv mono. Yes. And I want the awful text. Awesome. Okay, so case and sensitivity, done. I think that might be all the time I have for today because I picked some more complex bugs. I wasn't able to crank through them exactly as fast as I want, and I want to keep it within the 2 hour sort of time frame of a stream that's normally comfortable for me and the typical time that Abner streams for, and I don't want to make one a marathon stream when it's also getting late for me. So I think this will be the end. I'm not going to move on to the next thing here on my to-do list. I did write down a new item. Let me spend the rest of my time chatting with the chat, answering questions, and making sure my to-do list is synced up with my notes. So, right here we found a bug where shift, ooh, don't read that. Shift backspace in interactive view is messed up. Let's see. Some of these can actually be crossed off. This one. That's fixed. That is fixed, and that is fixed. We still have plenty of easy bugs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 13 if I count the hard bugs. Let's take care of this easy to do, because I have the solution for that. I believe that's in... Okay. So we decided, we had a long chat on Twitter, and it turns out that actually what's going to happen is someday there's going to be out of sync options, right? That includes a hook in the customization layer for it. That includes a well, basically people want in editor diff, which is fine, so that they can diff the old version and the new version, but that also means that keep copy of unedited or some, right? So that's some stuff that needs to happen. But in the meantime, I think we said that simply an exclamation point is pretty good for out of sync. And since there's no one actually has like the star is kind of universal unsaved. So we're gonna, starting here and now, rippling out from this point in time and space in all directions except backwards in time. It's not gonna ripple backwards in time. That's not, magic isn't real, right? But everything else, forwards in time and through space, it's gonna ripple out that this is the tradition. Exclamation point means that the version the operating system has on the disk is newer than the copy you've been editing. So let it be that that is the case from now on. Let me see if there's any other behind OS things floating around here. Alright, I think that's all of them. Brett Hudson has uh tip on to-do lists about something that I'll have to look into to figure out what he's talking about. I'll do that later. Another one. Autumn Quimber, seriously, do you find these to-do lists useful? If so, wouldn't it be nice to have some statistics about them for self-reflection once the project is done? I guess. I mean, I'll tell you something I do. I write lots of stuff down. Writing stuff down keeps me sane. I can show you another cool thing I've got. In general, wait, let me let's wait till I have this on. Okay, in general, uh, I don't super care about the statistics, I guess. Like, I could look and say how often did I put something on the to-do list, how long did it stay there, etc. I don't really care. The idea is that I wrote it down so that I feel like I have to hold all of that stuff in my head if I don't write it down. And I've always had like notebooks full of to-do lists, and I've just now recently decided to type them up so you can all see what I'm up to. Uh, but I've been a list person for a long time. But there's another thing I do that's kind of fun, and that's I keep a calendar of things I'm up to as well. It's basically another to-do list, right? But I have last year's calendar. This year's calendar is up on the wall right there, but this is last year's 2015 calendar. Let me see if I can make this visible for you. Calendar 2015, and let me. So it. Okay. Okay. And in general, I've got like just days will be filled up with. I X off the days when they're done, but you can see like all the things I was up to at the time, right? And so it's not sometimes fun to like pop open an old calendar and look at what's in there, just sort of browse, I guess. But I don't know. It's not really a backwards looking thing, I don't think. It's not for that. I'm keeping this one, well, I put a date on it so we can see when I started it and we can appreciate how many items I've added over time. We'll have one more glass of chocolate milk before I call the stream done. Small one, because I want to save the rest of that days. I am doing 4coder Wednesday as always this week. In general, I seem to have the Wednesday spot is always working, and then I put up a random day somewhere around the weekend, depending on when I get everything done, when I have got free time. I don't mean to do a bonus stream every single week, but it's kind of been that way for a while. For this year, it seems like. Uh, but yeah, the Wednesday streams definitely solid. I like that tree project a lot. I don't know if other people are interested in it. Some people show up all the time, and some people, I don't know. It's not always the most engaging thing for other people, but I find it very fascinating. You know, there's something else I have to. We gotta do this before we're done. So let me close Emacs. Let me run it again. Let me open it. Okay, so that took. Did you see that? Now let's run 4coder. Okay. It's about a difference of 1 second. It's a 1 second difference. It's not gonna change your life unless other things are going badly that day, and it's just you have to open it a few times in a row. It's a few seconds every day. Who knows? But let's do one more thing. Open 4ed.cpp. That was a good 2 seconds. That was annoying. Boom. My finger wasn't even off the enter key before that thing was done. It feels so good. Love this thing here. I'm basically only using Emacs now because of the fact that if I try to build 4coder while using 4coder, it can't overwrite the executable. So the next time I release one, I'm gonna take the copy I release. I'm gonna set it aside on my computer as something I can call, and then I'll be done. There'll never be Emacs. I'll uninstall Emacs after this next 4coder release. Dead serious. All right. I'm gonna sign off. Thanks for joining me on the stream, everybody. I'll see you around.